Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today. I have a video here to talk about a random book that I grabbed at the library quite a bit back, and I've been trying to work through the books I picked up, like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and whatever. This book here is called The Reformed, and apparently it's written by a man named Christopher Hart, and the art is done by a girl named Anzu, who I believe is from Singapore, if I remember correctly from the author's note. And apparently this manga is like an American manga. It's not like written right to left, like where you read the dialogue that way, and from the back of the book to the what we as Americans consider the front of the book. It's not like that. It's apparently an American wrote it. Anzu did the art just like it would be for an American audience, even though it's in a very manga style. Anyway, this is only one book, and I believe Christopher Hart, because I tried to look him up. I tried to see if he had like a Wikipedia page and stuff. There's a lot of famous Christopher Harts on Wikipedia, just so you know. I don't think this one's listed, because the novelist that I found didn't have The Reformed, the book I'm talking about, underneath his list of stuff. So, I don't know. There's also some guy named Christopher Hart that has a lot of famous manga book, how to draw types of books out there. So, it may be the same guy, it may not to be. I don't know. Anyway, The Reformed, I didn't know anything about it going into it. I picked it up, I finally started reading it, and it took me a little bit to finish it. It's about 160 pages long. And let me tell you up front, I'm a horror guy. I love horror, and I love vampire stories sometimes. It's not very common that you get a good horror movie of vampires, but books, you can typically have some cool stuff. And the idea of having a manga focused around a vampire and his love story with a girl is kind of cool, because usually we have novels that are written of girls and movies that are made of girls falling in love with a vampire, being a normal person whose life is flipped upside down, like Will Smith's, over a vampire love story. And that's boring to me. As a man, it is, because I want more stories about a badass dude, and this is from the perspective of a vampire named Giancarlo. Now, he's out one night, he's hunting to get some blood, and whatever, kill some hookers, or whatever he's going to do to get his blood. He's not really a good guy per se, but he looks like a fucking badass. The art from Anzu in this book is excellent. Most of the time. There's a couple of shots, pictures, frames, I don't know what we're calling those things nowadays, that is a little messy where you can't really see what's going on, but that only happened a couple of times in this book. But the art style overall, of character designs and whatever, that stuff was fantastic in my opinion. Best part of the book, easily. But Giancarlo is a vampire who looks like you know what a girl would like. Sexy dude, leather, long jacket, kind of like a Van Helsing jacket. It's pretty awesome. But he rescues a girl from being assumed to be like attacked, assaulted, whatever, in an alleyway in a city. And her name is Jenny. And as soon as he sees her face, he like falls in love with her and wants to protect her. And he brings her back to his house. He tries to have like a little bit of a date with her and stuff. He is living in a mansion. He's very, very rich, like a lot of vampires are in fiction. And this started out to me being a better version of Twilight. No sparkling in the sun, no daylight hours, not really anything like that. It stuck to the nighttime and the awesome manga-style art that I love even more than American art typically. And it's in black and white, as many people know. I don't think many people have heard of this book, and it was put out by Del Rey, which is surprising to me. Very surprising with how this book went. I am fairly confident this was opened by the end to be a series, and I'm pretty sure there's only one book. According to what Goodreads can say, well, a little bit of info I did online researching, I don't think there's any sequel to this book, nor do I think I would pick them up based on the ending of the book because of how this turned out. So there are some dangers afoot. There also happens to be a detective who is not really assigned to this case, but he keeps popping in trying to investigate it himself, of somebody who is committing murders in a very vampiric style. It may be another vampire, but the points kind of all draw that detective to Giancarlo as he investigates. And it has these kind of cool manga supernatural elements that I think if it was a big branching series, it could have been really cool. But this came out in like 2008 according to the copyright page. Maybe earlier, I don't know. Maybe later, I don't know. but I was hoping that it would be consistently good, because I think it started out as a better version of Twilight, like I said. By the end of it, it was so rushed feeling, in my opinion, which isn't always a bad thing. You know, if it's a bad book, that can be a good thing. But let me tell you, the last, 15, 20 pages of the book was so rushed out of this that it kind of ruined the pacing of the book for me. And I thought it was going at a great pace for setting things up, for kind of building a lackluster mystery, but something cool. I was hoping for, number one, a really good twist, but number two, I was hoping for Jenny to develop earlier in the book into a better character eventually. That did not happen. Jenny is a fucking idiot. Always accepting invitations to get in people's cars, go into their house. She trusts Giancarlo when he's clearly telling her something that would explain a lot of bad shit about him, a lot of things the detective talks to her and Giancarlo in public about as he investigates Giancarlo. This broad cannot connect A to B. She can't. She's an idiot. Jenny is a fucking idiot. But let me get to this point. Christopher Hart wrote this book. Anzu is a girl who did the art for this book. The last page of the book, I'm not going to spoil for you. It is so embarrassing as a man, because I'm pretty sure Christopher Hart was a lot older when he wrote this, 40-something years old, 30-something years old. The ending of this book, the last bit of dialogue given, is so shockingly stupid and does not make sense at all in the time frame that this story takes place over the course of a certain amount of time, which is very short. It feels to me like it took place in a week's time, maybe less than that. It's a bad ending. And again, I think the series really could have breathed and really could have expanded into something kind of cool as it would go on, because it has some nice gore. It has some, not gore, but it has blood in it. But it's cool how they do things like the vampire killings and whatever. And I think that's kind of a cool Jack the Ripper spinoff idea. Not really, it's not a Jack the Ripper spinoff like Jack's Back from the Dead. It's not anything like that. What I meant is, it's a cool modern version of something like that, but with supernatural vampires involved, demonic entities involved, stuff like that. It could have been really cool is what I'm trying to tell you. And I love Giancarlo. I want more Giancarlo stuff. There's a scene about Jenny, the fucking idiot that he's in love with, who wants to go into a church because she loves the music, and we're all reading this book thinking, he's a vampire. He can't really go around, crosses and whatever. She doesn't know he's a vampire yet. So he's kind of a little bit different on how they approach that, and I really loved it. It was more about, like the title talks about, the Reformed. He doesn't know if he can ever be forgiven. Now, as a Christian myself, I thought at first, is this book going to become a Christian book? But it didn't. But it was cool to present those ideas to the idea of this guy who sold his soul for what he seems to think is eternal life, but he may have beliefs beyond that. That was very interesting to me, the kind of stuff that could have been done here. And the ball was dropped so fucking heavy, it cracked to the ground, dude. Man, oh man, I'm really let down, man. I wanted to come on to this review and tell you, hey, I found kind of a hidden gem that I've never heard of before, never had anybody online recommend to me, and now I know why. But no offense to Christopher Hart, but that last bit of dialogue is embarrassing. And you think Anzu would have corrected that, and how it made no sense that early into the relationship of Giancarlo and the idiot named Jenny. But again, Anzu's art is wonderful. I really recommend the book just for her art alone. Really good stuff, dude. But anyway, The Reformed could have been really cool. Giancarlo was really cool. But Jenny drags this book down. People talk about Bella Swan. You don't know shit till you've seen what Jenny does. The way she tries to... She's just an idiot. I mean, seriously. She is a victim as a character of a bad writer writing a chick as a fucking moron. It's a shame, man. Anyway, have you read The Reformed? What do you think about it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Again, I've never heard of this. This was a random pickup from a library. And it being a single book, I'm assuming, I think, again, by my small amount of research, I would love to hear what other people have to say about this, because it's kind of embarrassing, but it could have been cool. It clearly was trying to cash in on that Twilight fanfare once upon a time, but it deserved more credit than something like Twilight, in my opinion. Even though the Twilight movies kind of made the books, obsolete, I would say, except for a couple of them. Some of those movies are horrible. Anyway, let me know what you think about The Reformed down below. Thank you all for watching, guys, once again. God bless you all again. Catch you later. Goodbye.